How much money did you make just wholesaling on the MLS?
$4 million.
$4 million?
Yeah, maybe.
I know you, in your career you've done about like 700 wholesales, which is a lot.
Yeah.
How many wholesales are you guys now doing like a month?
I've always averaged about 7 to 10 deals a month.
The most you've made in 1 year?
2.4.
You've been averaging about 7 to 10 deals a month for like maybe almost a decade.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Welcome to the Wealthy Investor Podcast, the #1 podcast for flippers and wholesalers and people trying to build wealth in real estate. And today we have someone on the podcast that has done over $10 million in wholesale fees. And we're going to teach you how to scale your wholesale business. And there's nothing else you need than to watch this podcast in order to scale. And if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, because we teach you everything you need to know to scale for free. So today we got Raul. How you doing, baby?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. So Raul from Miami. So for people who don't know who you are, can you give us like your quick backstory?
Yeah. So my name is Raul Bolufe. Yeah. Born and raised Miami, Florida. You caught very early on that I am Puerto Rican.
Boricua.
Puerto Rican, Cuban.
Puerto Ricans.
You know, father came from Cuba, kind of like migrated at 16
Havana?
years old. He did actually. Yeah.
There you go. I don't know.
My mom came young. And anyways, so I started with I've always been pretty like entrepreneurial savvy. In high school, I was kind of like a nerd. I didn't have many friends. I was antisocial, etc.
Dang.
And then I started selling cars. My father had a car dealership in Miami for many years. So I said, hey, I need to make some money. He's like, all right, well, start washing cars. So when I was like 14, 15, 16, I started like washing cars, just kind of doing things around the dealer. And then I'm like, I want to make more money. I don't want to make this $11 an hour anymore. He's like, all right, you can start selling cars. I'll give you a desk. It's commission only. You get $250 for every car you sell. And by the way, this was like in a location that was kind of Spanish oriented, like more Cuban people.
In Florida.
In South Florida, yeah.
Yeah.
Right by the Miami airport. It's like very Cuba, basically. And I know Spanish, but I'm not great at it. So I had to learn how to sell cars in Spanish when I was like 18 years old. But anyways, I did that for a few years. Didn't really like it too much. I always saw that real estate was it. I don't know. I just kind of always knew. Especially when I would sell cars to people that would buy like the Mercedes or the Benz, oftentimes like, what do you do for I have to fill out their credit application, you know? So what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a realtor, or I have properties, this, that. So, you know, one day I just did what we all do, and we start looking up real estate, how to buy real estate with no money. I had some money saved up, but not much. And that's how I found wholesaling. I found Sean Terry's podcast back then. This was like 2013-ish. And I found a local mentor. And it took me 3 months to get my first deal. And after that was it. I was hooked. I quit the dealer, even though it was becoming a very successful dealer. I quit that because I just didn't resonate with it. And although I learned a ton of lessons. And then, yeah, that's kind of my story of how I got involved and what I do today.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So then let's walk into how you scaled your business, because I know you do 7 figures now as a wholesaler. Yeah. So like walk me through the progression of your career.
Nice. Yeah. So when I think the first step was finding like that local mentor at the time, because there wasn't so much information online as there was in 2013. So there was like 3 podcasts maybe from what I can remember. So I found a guy and he was showing me how to do MLS deals. So basically go on the market. I didn't have my license. I still don't have my license. But he was showing me how to go on the market, look at deals, make offers, and then negotiate with agents, get them under contract, and wholesale them for a small fee. Yeah. So that's how I did, man. And I would go to his office once a week, and we'd mainly do comps and how to find the deals. And that's how I started doing it. I found my first deal like that. Actually, I found my first deal off market by accident. I was texting Go Section 8 people for looking for buyers, and I accidentally found a seller, and I did a deal like that. But anyway, so after doing the first deal, I realized I was about 9 months by myself with nobody on the team but me. Yeah. And that first year I did about like 44 deals or something like that.
Damn, that's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I was busy.
Yeah.
But about 9 months in, I brought in my cousin and his best friend at the time. So then we all started working together. That was like my first team of scaling, my first vision of scaling, and tons and tons of mistakes on the way, which we could go on. But yeah, that's how I started to scale. I brought them on. They helped me make more offers, etc. I did buyer, they did sellers. I mean, they did agents, I did buyers. We scaled up a little bit that way. Then I hired an assistant. Then I hired a runner to go see the properties. And you know, we could talk about it, but I had a lot of variations of the business leading up to where I'm sitting now.
Yeah.
But that was like my first initial things of scaling it,
Yeah.
from what I remember.
I know there's going to be people listening to this or be like, man, but that was like in 2013. This doesn't work. Like, that's the main way one of the main ways that I do deals right now is just agent/MLS deals.
Oh,
and
cool.
we wholesale them. So we flip a lot of them too, but
Nice.
we still wholesale and flip using the MLS strategy. So when you first started, how much did you pay that mentor?
It was $5,000.
Okay.
But it was I didn't have $5,000, so I negotiated with him. I said, "Hey, would you take like 2,500 and then 2,500 later?" So that's what we did. It was 2,500, then 2,500 later, and the first 5 deals 50-50.
Okay. Do you regret paying him that $5,000?
Never.
Yeah.
I'm still good friends, and we still do maybe like 5-6 deals a year together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, not the listeners to this podcast, but there's always a lot of people that are like, yeah, you know, this guy's selling a course. Mentorships are scams. What would you say to those people?
Oh man, that's I'm like the opposite. I'm like so quick to buy mentorship and coaching and stuff. I'm like the easiest. I'm like the best.
Like a lay down.
Yeah, I'm like the best for that.
You self checkout. You're like $7,000. Okay,
yeah, I'm just a sucker for those. I bought in every course, you know. So me, I'm probably not the best person to ask, but look, in general, there's people that are probably not so good.
Yeah.
But most people who are online offering mentorship and coaching, I think for the most part mean well.
Yeah.
But I think there's also it might not be a good fit for you or for that person.
Yeah.
So what I would say to somebody looking for mentorship or someone who thinks this might be a scam is that it's not unless you find what's right for you.
Yeah.
And you find the right person in your spot where you're looking to go, et cetera, you know?
Yeah.
Like if you're looking to wholesale and you want to get mentorship from someone who's primarily been a flipper, might not be the best idea. But if you want to wholesale, then find a wholesaler. If you want to flip or do buy and holds, find one of those people. I think it's always been beneficial to my life. I've never seen a negative return on investment.
Yeah.
There's been better than others, but
Yeah.
I would say do your research, but absolutely it's more than likely not a scam, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my opinion though.
Yeah. I think those type of people are not my type of people. When they're like, yeah, you know, these people, I'm like, dude, you're going to pay rather with time or you're going to pay with money.
Yeah.
Right. So it could take you a year to figure out how to do the MLS, or you could just pay someone and, you know, have them train you and get that head start. Because the thing that people don't understand with real estate also, when something's working, it only works for so long.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Things come and go. Like I remember we were doing RVMs before, ringless voicemail. That stuff worked. It was crazy. And then it got shut down. Before the podcast, you were talking about you were sending like 100,000 text messages through some platform a day, and then it got shut down. So kind of like you have to catch things while they're working.
Yeah. And that's why I think having like an ongoing relationship with a mentor or a coach, or it doesn't even have to be paid for, but creating these relationships with people, because it's an ongoing thing. Like you said, like texting might have worked a year ago. PPL might work now. MLS might work in a year from now. We don't know. But if you stay in the game with people that are in it, that's where I think it's really beneficial. I think a lot of people stop, you know, you pay for mentoring or a coach or a course, and then you stop after 3 or 6 months, and kind of the gold starts after that.
100%. And I think, so there's going to be, so shout out to the listeners that listen to this that are scaled already. Some of you stopped investing in education, because I even went through that where I scaled up to like 7 figures and then I stopped investing in education because I was like, oh, I already know it all. But that's when you have to start doing like different things, like maybe, you know, scaling your social media, scaling your personal life, like your health or whatever the case. But I believe everyone should be, you know, investing in some type of mentorship always. It might not always be real estate, but it could be health, faith, social media, whatever else, you know, golf, whatever else they want to get good at. Like, hire a mentor. Don't go pay with time. Time is way more valuable than money.
And the stress behind it, and the frustration, the embarrassment of like, you know, saying to your significant other, your friends, like, I'm going to do this, and you fail because you're trying to do, I mean, it's kind of tough, man. Most things are pretty tough to figure it on your own.
100%.
Or it just takes a while.
Yeah. So you started doing the MLS.
Yeah.
And then you started bringing on family members.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
So yeah, we did the MLS for, I want to say about 4 years. That was like all we did. We did some off market here or there because like leads came in, but yeah, I bring on these family members. Then I bring on a personal assistant. Then I start bringing on a runner, which in our world means like someone who goes to take pictures of properties. Yeah. Because back then on the MLS, or still now, I do some MLS deals now, not too many. But one of the main objections is, you need to see the property. Yeah. So I'd have somebody that's what they would do all day. Then I hired acquisitions people. All they would do is make offers, make 10 offers a day, and go see properties and talk to agents, etc. Yeah. And that was my next hire. Then I hired some dispositions, 1 or 2 dispositions. Yeah. But mainly I was always doing dispositions because this was only South Florida. So I always had a good relationship with my buyers. Yeah. There was no novations back then. None of that. It was just, wholesale text messages, emails, wholesalers, etc. So yeah, then I had the acquisition, some dispo, and then just became a revolving door around some of those people, and yeah, that was from what I recall. Yeah, that was all that. Got it. Some of the things I started doing, just acquisitions. I mean, at some point we were cranking out, I don't know, 7 to 10 deals a month on the MLS for a while. Okay. I mean, but our fees were small. We were like, I had an agreement with a buyer at one point that he'd buy all the deals, but would give me a $2,500 flat fee. Oh, what the hell? Yeah. But I was making buyer's agent commission. Oh, because my cousin that I brought on was a realtor. So we would leave buyer's agent commission on almost every deal. So on average, we're making like $7 to $8 grand per deal. Oh, okay. And that was kind of like our little way of beating the competition because we're taking $2,500, but we're also getting a commission. And at that time, it wasn't so popular to do big MLS wholesaling. Yeah. At least from what I can remember in our city. So yeah, we're just doing a bunch of that, man. I was 21. I started when I was 21. I was like 23, 24 years old, had an office, 10 people, big overhead. I didn't really know what the heck I was doing. I was just, but it was working. We're making good money.
What do you think? So how much money did you make just wholesaling on the MLS?
If I had to guess, a good guess, I mean, probably maybe $4 million.
$4 million?
Yeah, maybe let's say just 4 to 5
using
million.
the MLS.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And then, hey guys, quick break from the podcast. First of all, thank you for listening to the Wealthy Investor Podcast. Also, I want you to know in the description of this video, there is a link. If you want to do deals with me in Las Vegas, California, or anywhere in the country, go to the link in the description, fill out the information. If you fill that out, you'll get access to the deals that we're wholesaling. You can also fund a deal and partner with you, or I offer one-on-one coaching. So if you want me to help you get your first deal, or help you scale your business, just go to the link of the description. Now let's get back to the podcast. Like, why did you transition to direct to seller?
So in 2016, 2017, you've probably experienced this. A lot of investors probably experienced this. The hedge funds started coming in and started making offers on the MLS.
So the MLS
full price, cash, 10-day inspection. Yeah. When we were, probably around 30% off of MLS price on average, et cetera. So it got a little tough. I mean, if I was an agent and I was a seller, I would probably accept a 10-day inspection offer at full price cash other than ours. Yeah. So really that's what happened. It just got tough. Hedge funds started coming in, more competition started coming in. And at first we were at about 30 offers per contract signed. That's like when we were really cooking in 2013 to 2016, 2017. But then it got to the point that it was like 150 sent offers to contract signed. And then the margins were still small and it just needed so much work to get there that I couldn't figure out how to pencil the numbers. So that's when I had to start transitioning to like the off-market world, which was a very tough transition for me. Very, very tough. Because I knew the off-market world. I knew how to talk to sellers and marketing, but it wasn't my thing, and I quickly realized it was a whole other business. Like,
oh, 100%.
It was a whole other, the problems I was dealing with agents and offers and counter offers and escrow deposits and, days till escrow deposit and inspection periods and inspection reports and reductions with agents, like all these tactics in the CRM I built and all the stuff that we built was for agents to optimize that. And now you remove that and you have a seller that doesn't even know what an escrow is. It was like a whole thing for me, Yeah. And going from 7 to 10 deals a month to like 1 MLS deal a month. And now I have to spend money on marketing. Like what? Yeah. And these people, they're not ready to decide today. What? Like it was so confusing for me, but that's really what happened. Hedge funds came in, a lot of competition came in. It was like, shit, we got to pivot. Like, if not, we're going to die here.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, so I'll tell a quick story. So I remember, and it kind of goes just like what I just said, like things work and then they don't. And then in real estate, like I feel like now the time frames are getting shorter and shorter, but like things typically work for like a year or two. Yeah. And then it's done. And then sometimes it's like now it's like it feels like 4 to 6 months where you can find like a little small thing that works and then it gets saturated. So I started real estate in Las Vegas, right? As a realtor. I was calling expired listings, right? Do you know what those are? Yeah. Yeah. So I was calling expired listings. That was working, right? I was making like, let's say $250 a year, right? I moved to California and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to do the same thing. Guess what? In California, that didn't work because the market at the time was very hot. So there wasn't a lot of expired listings. So it went from like 30 a day to 5 a day, you know, in California. Damn. So 5 expired listings, they're getting blown up. So that stopped working. And the problem was I just got married and I had a child, had a child. So another child. So I was just like, okay, I got to figure something out. I got on doing NODs and that like kind of blew up my business. And then I was getting about a contract a day or a contract every other day. Just
NODs the default?
Notice of default. Oh, okay, yeah. I was getting a contract a day or a contract every other day. And I remember when I was calling these leads, they're like, how did you get my number? Like, no one's called me. Like, well, I don't understand. I was like, oh, bro, this is really good. Yeah. 6 months later, they're like, you're the 10th person that called me today. So, like, it went away. It still worked, but it got extremely harder. So I've experienced that a few times in my career where something starts and you're like, dude, I'm going to make a career out of this. Yeah. And then it goes away. So, so when you first... I guess, so people know now, what does your wholesale operation look like in 2024?
So right now I kind of went through like a big reset. So in end of 2023, I like stopped working. I had an office. I had 6 acquisitions agents, 2 dispo, COO. I had like a team, you know? And cause I was in office, like all this time that we were talking, I was in office, physical location for the last like 10 years, right? Doing the same thing. And I just got burnt out. Like I had been getting burnt out for the last year or so. You know, I had some like losses, some big changes with my people and stuff. And then I had to really step in and like, do the thing, which is fine. But I guess I just mentally wasn't like prepared as I thought. Like, you know, we always think something's going to be X hard, but it's like exponentially harder. Yeah. Anyway, so in, So in October, I went into my office. It was like 9, 10 people, and I let everyone go one day. I didn't.
No way.
I sat in. We used to have a daily sales meeting. I sat on the desk in front of everybody. I said, "Hey guys," no one expected it. I didn't really expect it. Like it was just, I couldn't like get out of bed. Like my girlfriend was I'm a pretty optimistic, positive person, and my girlfriend's like, "Yo, something's wrong with you." Like, anyway, so I let everybody go.
Were you just hungry or no?
Probably. The Chipotle didn't fit well. Anyway, so I took a break from last October till like March.
Dang.
I traveled South America. I built a pool in my house. I went swimming a lot. I ate Chipotle at like 11 a.m. Like I did weird things.
Oh my God. You sound like Brianna.
Yeah. You know, sushi on a Tuesday at 1, you know, things like that. So
barbaric.
We did some traveling. I kind of just hung out. I got rid of some like problem properties and rentals. So the reason I say this backstory is because what it is today is kind of like I started the business back up March of this year.
Okay.
And it's all virtual right now. I have a team of 5 and I have 1 acquisition. I just hired another one. So 2 acquisitions. I have my sister. She's doing dispositions in TC, myself, and then assistant, you know, VA operations / executive assistant.
Okay. So like, I know in your career, you've done about like 700 wholesales, which is a lot.
Yeah.
How many wholesales are you guys now doing like a month?
We're getting like 2 to 3 contracts a week. at a probably like 60% closing ratio. So whatever that leads up to.
Yeah.
So I'll say 4 to 5 closings a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what were you doing before you shut down your office?
So it's funny because on January, I was looking at my spreadsheet of last year because this January I had 0 deals.
Yeah.
And then last January we did 27 deals last January. But on average, I would say last year was probably like 9 deals a month.
9 deals a
like
month.
Closings,
Yeah.
money in the bank. And I feel like throughout my career, I've always averaged about 7 to 10 deals a month, I would say.
Got it. Okay.
That was kind of like, yeah.
So you've been averaging about 7 to 10 deals a month for like maybe almost a decade.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So why did you shut it all down instead of like taking a step back a little bit?
Man, that's a really good question. So I've had a good amount of time to reflect on that. I think it was just I was experiencing just like a high level burnout.
It was just a mental thing.
It was a mental thing. Like there was nothing physically wrong with me. I was in good shape. I didn't have any like crazy thoughts about like, anything nuts.
Are you religious at all?
Not necessarily. No.
Okay. So you're just burnt out.
Yeah. I was just like, I was done with it, man. I couldn't like train my people anymore without like hating it. Everything I did, I hated, and I know I don't hate it. So
yeah,
I knew something was up.
I went through that too.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. So I started real estate 2015.
Okay.
And then I did 2015, 2016. Then I transitioned to flipping and wholesaling 2016, 2017-ish.
Okay.
Then I scaled in 2018. Then I had 2018, 19, 2022 when everything popped off, 2021, 2022, they raised the interest rates. So I went from like offense to now like defense because, I had a bunch of flips. So I'm selling stuff at losses. I'm canceling escrows. I'm assigning stuff that I was going to flip.
Yeah.
So I went on defense. 2023, I finally sold everything. So I felt like I was on defense for like 8 months, and I was like, all right. And then we have Wealthy Investor. So I was like, okay, I'm going to focus on this. And I moved, and I just couldn't get myself to like want to do real estate. I just couldn't do it. Yeah. After I've done it for, I don't know how many years, I was just like, I just couldn't do it. It was so weird because like, I don't know. It's weird to not be able to do something you've done for so long and you're good at it. Yeah. And then at the end of 2023, I was just like, when New Year's comes around, New Year started coming. So it was the fourth quarter of 2023. And I was like, dude, I have to get back into real estate. Like I have to. I stopped building wealth. I was making decent money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, from education. And I was just like, okay, but I got to get back into real estate because my wealth is not growing anymore. And I just know I can make a lot of money, right? Yeah. So then what I had to do is I hired like an operator. His name is Justin. Okay. He runs the day-to-day. So I can't run the day-to-day right now. I'm still not even fully mentally back. Yeah. Kind of like you said, like I would start to talk to my sales team and I'm just like, dude, I don't give a F, dog. Like, rather figure it out or you can't work here. Like, and that's not good. And that's not good leadership. And it's not good for them. It's not good for me. It's not good for my wife. It's not good for my kids. But I just, for some reason, got into this weird space of like not wanting to do real estate. Hired Justin. We start back up. And then we start to scale again, like about January, because it took a couple months of like trying to figure it out. And then January, we started to scale. Now we're like, I would say we're like almost scaled to the point where we'll do like 6 figures a month. Nice. But everything takes so dang long. Oh, so like, you buy a house today, you don't get paid for like 4 to 6 months if you're flipping it. So we're like in that transition where once the deals start closing, we should be about 6 figures a month. But I went through the same type of like hardship.
That's so interesting. Yeah. Like I haven't met so many people that would admit it. Like I know people that go through it, but they stay in it, Oh, and they don't like really like take the time to decompress. At the time when I was like really going through it, I had like 2 conversations with some friends I met in masterminds that like actually took breaks in the past because they went through it. And that's what helped me kind of like get over myself. Because the big thing was like Raul, you're not a quitter. Like, don't quit.
Yeah.
Don't, you know, like, don't be a little bitch, you know, excuse my language, but
yeah. Oh my gosh.
don't be a little bitch, all this, you know, but it's like, man, I also have to think about me, like my mental health. Like if I would have kept going and really pushed through, like I have all these years, I don't know who I would have been on the other side. It could have been good or it could have been really bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. Cause I was getting like worse and worse and worse. Like I couldn't find anything to be happy about. I couldn't find anything to be optimistic about. Everything was like, and that's just not me.
Yeah.
So dude, there was so many things. Also, I had a COO. So the relationship with my cousin, best friend, ended like 2016, 2017. That was kind of hard on me. I mean, we're still in good terms with us, but it was hard on me. But I just kept going on. The next day I showed up to the office and I did the huddle and I did my thing, right? And I kept doing that. And then I had a COO that was one of my good friends from high school. He was an attorney. He became my COO. And he worked with me for like 4 years. And then he left to start his own thing. So my cousin left to start his own thing. Best friend left to start his own thing. COO left to start his own thing.
All wholesales?
All wholesale.
All wholesale operations?
All wholesale operations. And yeah. And then my top acquisitions guy was with me for 4 years, left to start his own thing. As you can see, I'm not great with non-competes.
Yeah.
As you can see,
are they enforceable in Florida?
Not really.
Oh, okay.
And like, dude, these guys, like, I care about them. So like, I don't want to like stop you from doing better for your life. Like that was when remember that first year I told you for 9 months I was by myself. I had like a serious, like, I was 21 years old, but I don't know, for some reason I knew that I was going to do this for a while. I had like a serious thought. Like I sat myself down. I'm like, if I'm going to bring on people, like I have to really, I'm doing this because I care. I want to help people. Like I started from like zero and found a little mentor, and now I'm making a couple $100,000 a year. Like I would love to help people do that. Like that's going to be my mission if I bring people on. So I kind of, in a weird way, have accomplished that mission of helping people go from like, cause all of them, they would have been rock stars without me, you know? But what I'm saying is like, I helped them get there faster, you know? And so in a weird way, it hurt me, but I was happy I still am very happy for them. So this was also a reason like why I feel I stopped. I just like all these people I cared about, family, friends, good acquisitions people, dispos, etc., ended up like leaving and starting their own thing. And then like I was kind of left to like do it all.
Start over.
Yeah. And it was just like, I think I was suppressing like the little pain, little micro pain every time someone you care about leaves.
Had a little trauma.
You get a little micro pain, you know? But I kept just working, bro. And at some point, I think it just caught up to me. Yeah. And then I just needed some time to decompress, and now I'm good.
What do you think about, okay, so what is let's go through your business in 2023, right, before you shut everything down?
Sure.
So what marketing were you doing? What was your sales system? All that stuff.
Yeah. So we were heavy on PPC, very heavy on PPC. On 2023, we did PPC. We did some PPL, pay per lead. We did texting a little bit. I think 2023, the texting was already kind of gone. But I think for most of the year we did. Yeah. And I think that was it. It was just PPC, PPL, text. And we tested some cold call centers, but we didn't spend too much on it. Maybe like $5-10 in the year.
Who'd you use for PPC?
Okay, so I started managing myself.
Oh, nice.
I learned it all. I hired a PPC coach basically to teach me. And then he started managing it for me. His name is Derek.
Your coach?
Derek Schleeps. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but I think that's his name. I actually never said his last name out loud, so there it is. There you go. So Derek was managing it. We're spending probably maybe 15 to 20K a month on PPC.
That's not bad.
And then PPL probably spend $3 to $5 a month. And then miscellaneous texting and SMS, probably another $5 a month or so.
Were you doing just Miami, or you're doing like the state of Florida?
The state of Florida.
The state of Florida.
Yeah,
got it. State. And then like, what was like your ROAS on PPL and PPC?
PPC ended like at 3 to 1.
Okay.
PPL I think was like 2 to 1.
Oh, okay.
PPL didn't do very good for us last year. That's why I kind of stopped it until this year. But the thing is also 2023, I did a good amount of flips. So I actually made most of my money flipping last year, which then ended up losing some money this year from my dumb flips that I bought end of 2023. Okay. But anyways, that was basically the system. That was our marketing. Then we had, like I said, we had some junior reps and senior reps on the acquisition side. Okay. Well, I don't know if you want to keep talking about marketing, but I'm getting ahead of myself, you know?
Yeah, let's finish about marketing, and then we'll go to sales. So PPC, why did you learn how to run it yourself? And how long did it take you to learn how to like run PPC by yourself? And what systems do you use if you're running PPC by yourself?
Yeah. So why did I learn it? Probably something I learned from my father. You know, he's just like, you gotta learn how to do everything in your business, you know?
Okay,
you know,
that's good.
Kind of just, I learned that. It's been ingrained in me. So I'm like, all right, if I'm going to put my 15, 20, $30,000 a month on PPC, I better know what the heck it even does, you know?
Yeah.
So I bought a course. I want to say it was Sean Terry's course.
Yeah.
Well, I started with an AdWords Nerds course from a while ago to learn PPC. Then I bought another online course. Then I got this Derek guy to train me. So that I learned it just because I felt I needed to. If I'm going to spend that much money, let me learn it, you know?
Yeah.
It took me, before I felt confident doing it,
Yeah.
probably like 2 months.
Okay. That's not bad.
But at the time, I wasn't really doing sales or anything else. So I was really spending a good amount of hours on it, you know?
Yeah.
So that is why I did it. It took me about 2 months. And the systems that I used was, let me think. I actually have it all like in a Google Doc. So I had a daily like little checklist I would do. I would check the negative keyword. I would check the searches that came in, the search terms, see if I should add any of them in negative keywords. I have my percentage. I had like percentages of where things should be on a daily and weekly basis, and I would look at it as far as like conversion rate and things. I can't remember all of it right now.
Can you share that with me?
Yeah.
Do you mind if we share it with the listeners?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So we're going to put in the description of this video. If you want that, it's going to be in the description of this video. But yeah, so what else about PPC?
Yeah, I mean, it just takes some attention in the beginning, but it's really not that bad once you get it up and running.
Okay.
Yeah, I had that daily checklist, and then I would look at it every day for like 20, 30 minutes. And then I would just like kind of study it on a weekly and monthly basis.
Yeah.
And then I would meet with my coach once a week about it. So like I'd go over like any questions I didn't know, I'd ask him.
Yeah.
And then he'd be like, this is what I do. Check this out. We'd make, man, it's just a whole world. But
Yeah.
yeah, with Derek, he helped me a lot. Like I would just ask him all the freaking questions.
So why did you go from you doing it to then just having him manage it?
Because when my COO left and my salespeople, you know, my top sales guy left and stuff, I needed to step in and do ops and sales. So I didn't have that kind of time. And I feel like for marketing to really be successful at marketing, your brain has to be a little clear.
Yeah.
Of the
focus.
Yeah. Like, because even though I technically could have carved out 20, 30 minutes a day of it, I just like, I'm thinking of deals and leads and sales and conversions and, I got to make an offer to this lady and I got to close this and I got to find the buyer for this. I don't know. I just wasn't like clear and creative enough to figure out the PPC and like give it its attention.
Got it.
So in short, the reason I started having Derek do it completely was that I got so heavily invested into like sales and dispo and operations that I didn't have like the mental capacity to do it. Yeah.
Okay. What do you think as far as anything else for PPC? Who do you build your website on?
It was Carrot. It was a Carrot site. Yeah.
Okay. And then, what CRM do you use? Podium?
So back then, 2023, I was using Left Main Salesforce.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had Stephanie Betters on the podcast.
I saw that one. It was really good.
Yeah.
It was after like a WealthCon or something, right?
Yeah, during WealthCon. Yeah.
Incredible interview, man.
Yeah,
Holy
she's a beast, dude.
I knew she was great, but then when she started saying all these numbers, I'm like, damn, she's really that good.
Oh, yeah. and in person, she's very impressive.
Really?
Like in person, when I'm sitting down with her and we spent like a day or so together, she's very impressive. Very smart.
For a while, she had like a full-time job at a hospital or something.
Yeah, she was a nurse.
A nurse, yeah.
Yeah. She was a nurse and then built Left Main. If you guys haven't seen it, go watch that episode after this one. But such a good podcast, and she was very smart. But so you're using Left Main. Who do you use now?
I use now, what does that use? I use Lofty.
Lofty. Okay.
They used to be Chime.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
got it. They just switched names.
It was an agent CRM, and I was put onto it. I had an ops manager when I started the business in March. She doesn't work with me anymore, but she put me onto it. She's like, look, use this one. I'm like, all right, fine. And I actually really love it.
Okay.
So Lofty.
Okay. So Investor Carrot, Lofty, and then who were you using for PPL?
Property Leads, Need to Sell, and FHO, Fast Home Offer.
Are you still using those?
I use Property Leads and Need to Sell.
Property Leads is becoming way more popular.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people like using that.
I mean, it's so hard for me to get cheap leads now in Florida.
Yeah. So I feel like that's also going to be a problem. Like if it's not a problem right now, just leads are getting so expensive.
Yeah.
Are you paying like what, like $400 a lead or more?
What I do is statewide Florida. So I'm between like I have it set for 100 to 125, but I really can't get leads unless I go to 150.
150?
Yeah, 150.
That's not that bad.
But it's for the state.
Still pretty high.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
a whole state.
Yeah, in other PPL websites, I used to pay $75, $50 sometimes.
Yeah.
Now they've bumped up the prices, but
Yeah.
it's like double or triple what used to be like 3 years ago.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
So I think we'll talk about acquisitions next, but that's like what I'm starting to notice. Like, it's almost like inflation of marketing. Yeah. Freaking Joe Biden's marketing America. Everything is like triple the price.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
I remember before $100 a lead is crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's like so expensive. Now people are paying like $500-$600 a lead.
Without even blinking.
Yeah, man. Without even blinking. So it's kind of hard.
Oh, I will say that reminded me in the end of 2023, right before I like shut everything down, I did use PPC Force for 3 months.
That's who I use right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Steve Prem.
Yeah.
And these guys.
Yeah. Prem's my guy.
Yeah. That's when I really, cause when I was doing statewide, it was like 150, maybe 180 a lead. Mm-hmm. And then with PPC Force, they kind of talked me into, let's get a lot more targeted. Let's just use exact match.
Yeah.
Let's not use phrase match. Let's do this. Let's do this. I said, okay, you guys are the pros. Let me listen. And that's when I was paying $350 a lead statewide. But like my conversions was very high. I was like 7 or 8 leads to contract.
Yeah.
With my other strategy was like 15 to 18 leads. But that was like, it was a shock. It was a shock to like start paying $350, $400 for statewide leads.
Yeah.
So I see what you're saying. Like, I mean, I don't know. Years ago, I probably would have never even like allowed that. I'd be like, what are you talking about? 350 for a lead in like wherever, you know?
Yeah. So, why do you do statewide instead of just doing Miami?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
I guess it's similar to why doesn't somebody just do Vegas and other stuff? But I guess my answer is I tried it for a while. It's not like I didn't try. I did when I first started the off market, and I tried to just stay in South Florida and try to do 100K plus months there. Yeah. I just found it to be very, very volatile and difficult. It all depended on one or two deals. The margins were high, but there was cancellations. There was things going on. So I couldn't figure out a very repeatable method to get it to 100K plus per month. And that's why I went statewide.
Got it.
It was just a money thing.
Yeah.
And, competition and stuff, that doesn't really like bother me or scare me too much. It was more just, I couldn't figure out how to freaking get it consistently to be 6 figures a month. I just tried everything. We tried direct mail, cold calling. We tried different variations. We tried going on appointments, phone sales, a lot, that was the main reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think as far as anything else for marketing? Talk about when you were doing 100,000 text messages a day before.
That only lasted like a week.
That's still a lot of text messages. That's like 700,000 text messages.
Yeah, it was crazy because we were really bullish on text when it first started.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. But yeah, so we had like launch control. We had a crazy system. Let me try to remember. So we had 3 launch controls. We had 3 batch leads accounts under different names and different LLCs.
Damn.
Because you had to get DLC approved. Back then, you kind of didn't have to get DLC approved at some point, I remember. But anyways, and then we found a company named Sonar that they do for big, like Realtor.com and other big like websites. And they said, look, we'll let you do 100K texts a day, no problem. So that's how that happened, It was because they gave us permission to. But on average, we were sending 20 to 30K a day. That was like, consistently, we did that for like maybe 2 years, I would say, 30K a day. Between all the launch controls, between all the batch leads. And I think those were the only 2 we were using. We weren't using Smarter Contact back then. And then, we had a lead texter, and then we had 4 full-time texters of VAs, virtual assistants. We had one that like oversaw them. And just imagine all the, texts and leads and filtering and stuff. But I mean, it was crazy. We're making a lot of money off that stuff.
How much are you texting now?
Now, 1,000 a day, 2,000 a day, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, who are you texting?
So originally I started texting again because I had like a big database from all these years. I had like maybe 8,000 sellers that like old leads. So I'm like, I want to hit these like more consistently. So that's why I got texting again, but I've kind of ran out from doing that. So now I'm just texting old lists that I've had.
Got it.
Yeah. Old skip trace lists that I have. I have maybe like throughout the years, I probably have like 800,000 skip trace records or something.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just hitting all those people again.
Do you own rentals?
I did.
You sold them?
I still have like 2, but in 2021 to 2023, I bought like maybe 7 million worth.
Dang, 7 million.
Yeah. I went on I got very inspired. I can't remember. Maybe it was a mastermind or podcast.
Yeah.
Who knows? I got inspired. I'm like, I got to buy more rentals, you know? I've always bought like 1 or 2 every year. But then those years I went crazy. I bought a ton. And that was part of my burnout too.
The rentals?
The rentals.
Yeah.
It just wasn't my thing. I honestly never liked it. I never liked rentals.
I don't like rentals either.
And I know it's great for wealth. I didn't like anything other than the idea of the wealth.
Yeah. I think it's funny because I feel like a lot of the stuff you went through, I'm going through, because I was talking to Brianna, my social media manager. We should just throw a picture of her because people don't know.
Put her here.
Yeah, who she is. But the other, like today or yesterday, I was like, dude, I think I'm getting burnt out from like real estate and then social media and then the rentals. Like, it doesn't seem like a lot like the rentals, but then it just like, oh, you need this repair. Hey, this guy stopped paying. Hey, we're in the middle of eviction on this guy. Hey, like this roof needs to get redone. Hey, there might be a foundation problem over here. It's just like a lot.
Yeah.
And then content, you know, is annoying. But yeah, like it's just like all these little things that kind of like take you in different places. That's kind of like what I'm struggling with right now.
Yeah.
So why'd you sell all your rentals? Why don't you just like get them in property management?
I tried that. I didn't like it either. I got burned by like 2-3 property managers. Again, look, I could have done things wrong. Maybe I picked the wrong people.
Of course.
Who knows, you know, but you know, it was like that. Like I was just getting pulled so many directions. I had like 30 doors or something. And then, yeah, every day was some shit.
Yeah.
And I was just like, dude, to net $300 a month.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm not doing this, you know?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So maybe they'll become a part of my life that I'll want to do it again. But I'm just like, look, this is like becoming more stressful than anything. It served a time and a place because, you know, obviously it was great for taxes.
Yeah.
Like I actually had a call with my accountant yesterday that because I bought so many rentals, I got a $500,000, you know,
write-off credit.
Yeah, like credit for next year tax.
Oh, that's good.
Which is great. So that's nice. So it served its purpose, and I think it's great to buy rentals. But dude, those little problems, like the same things that you're saying. There's no other thing that I could say besides, it was just annoying. I don't like it. The tenants don't really care about me. They don't care for my well-being. They don't care for the property's well-being. I'm trying to make a little bit of money. It was always kind of like a little battle. Yeah, I had great tenants. I had bad tenants. I just like, dude, I don't know. I didn't like it anymore.
Yeah.
At the end, I was making no net money.
Yeah.
Yes, I was getting equity and appreciation and tax. I understood. I was just like, why am I have all this money invested here? Plus my time, plus all these headaches.
Yeah.
And I'm not making anything. Yeah, saving on my taxes, but I don't know. Maybe later on I'll buy rentals. I was just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm in this business. If I bought $7 million worth of properties in 2 years, I could do it again in the next 2 years. I proved to myself I could do it.
Yeah.
Now it's time to just, you know, focus on what I want to do with my money and everything. And I would say that's why. Okay.
So, all right, let's transition to acquisitions and then just operations.
Nice.
So, like, what does your sales team look like now?
Now, basically me, I'm like the closer right now, essentially. Then I have Chris and one more person that I hired, basically doing like junior acquisition stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Chris is doing some MLS. He does MLS. And then I have basically 2 juniors and me.
Got it.
And then I also have my my girlfriend helps me out. She texts. She texts and like qualifies leads and stuff.
Got it. So like your sales calls, how long are your sales calls typically?
Good question. Probably like that I actually closed the deal.
Yeah.
Probably maybe 20 minutes plus.
Oh, okay. So they're kind of shorter.
Yeah. 20 minutes plus. It's funny because for a long time, I always liked the long call stuff, 2 call close, all that. But I resonate a little bit more with like RJ's method lately.
Yeah.
'Cause I saw your we were talking about it earlier.
Yeah.
I've always kind of like done that, but as I started seeing him do calls and like hearing more about him, like, man, he's put it in a really good way to understand, you know?
Yeah.
Long story short, what I meant by that is, I'm just maybe a little bit more straight up now, and
Yeah.
I'll do a long call if necessary, but
Yeah.
15,
Not
20
trying
minutes.
to be on long calls.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. So there's two schools in this debate now,
Yeah.
right? There's the RJ Bates
Yeah.
and even like Ryan Pineda's team.
Yeah.
Like Brianna's boyfriend. Well, I'm sorry, her fiance. They just got engaged. So
Ooh.
shout out to Brianna. She finally got a ring on it.
There
So
What's your secret? I'm just kidding.
yeah. So there's the short calls, which are like 15, 20 minutes. And then there's like the Eric Kleins, the Tiffany and Josh Highs
Right.
that are like
The old school John Martinez.
Yeah. So there's like a debate on like, should you be on the phone for an hour, 45 minutes plus 2 hours, or 20 minutes, and you should know if it's a deal or not.
Yeah. The way I've kind of quantified that is like two things. One, depends who's on the phone and what you find more enjoyable and doable.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, now that I have to step back in and close deals again to like get the ball rolling, I'm not going to be doing 2 hour calls. It's just not going to happen. So it's better that I don't even attempt it, because I'm going to do it with a shitty face. Number one.
I can't even do it.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey, are you going to take this offer or not? Because I'm I'm about to go home. It's about to be 5.
Yeah.
But that's not how an acquisition person should act. But that's why I can't be on the phones right now, because I'm not even on fire for real estate.
Yeah.
So I have to have acquisition people, because I'm just like I'm like a 5-minute call. I'm like, hey, Raul, it's 200. Do you want it or not?
Yeah. Like, I agree. I was like that. I mean, these past, like, when I kind of got burned out, for me to get back on the phones took me months, man.
Yeah.
It was a while. It was a while. But anyways, yeah, that honestly what got me to be able to like get myself to start doing it again was like, okay, I can like create my own resolution here. I can create my own system.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be the old school thing that I've been taught of, like 45 minutes call, you know. I could just ask them what their asking price is and just kind of get to the nitty gritty. And then the other thing is, if you're going to choose the 15, 20 minute call method or 7-minute call, whatever, you have to make sure that your TC in that world is figured out. Like, that is good service. For example, like, because what I learned was when we were doing like the hour-long call kind of things, the seller grew a lot of rapport and trust. If you get a contract in 15 minutes, it is very possible. Well, you now have to start building rapport on the TC side.
Yeah.
Meaning like hit them up 3 times a week, have somebody, you know, call or text them, make sure that they're in the loop.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you get a
escrow.
contract in 7 minutes, they get remorse and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So, but if you have a TC that calls them right away and it's like, hey, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Hey, congratulations. Then I think it could work.
Or the seller just forgets. So like I haven't done 700 transactions. I did like about 400, and on top of my 400, I've coached 1,000 people.
Wow.
And then seeing Ryan's operation. So I've seen
A lot.
thousands of transactions, right? I've seen a lot of the times where a seller signs, the wholesaler gets off the phone, he immediately goes to dispositions, right? The seller's like, next day hasn't heard from anyone. They're like, I don't even know if this guy's legit. And then they go sign with someone else, or someone else calls them, or the other wholesalers that they were speaking to, they're like, oh, this person offered 5K more. I'm just going to go with this person instead. Like, they don't understand that there's like an escrow started. So I think the transition from acquisitions to TC is very important, especially as you scale, because when you have like one seller, it's not that, like, you shouldn't be fumbling that. But when you're dealing with 10 to 20 sellers at a time, you need to make sure, like, all right, Mr. Seller, next steps are you're going to get an email from escrow. They're going to get your payoff. Do you have your loan statement anywhere? Like, that's with any sales system, it's always important, like, once you close the sale,
to keep going,
to go to next steps. So we use the closer framework. So there's like explain, and then I forgot what the R was. Holy crap. Do you remember what the R was, Brianna? I forgot what the R was, but the R is like, reinforce.
Oh, okay.
So reinforce their decision. So like, all right, Raul, you signed the contract. Congratulations. You're going to get $200K. You made a great decision. So now I need you to get your mortgage statement so we could order your payoff. And how do you want to get paid? A check or a wire? Check. Perfect. Okay. So Samantha from Tycor Title is going to call you in the next hour to get that set up. Okay. Perfect. And then let Samantha do that and then come back the next day. Hey, perfect. Did you do those steps? Okay, perfect. Now we're going to need to do the home inspection instead of like, hey, Raul, perfect. 200K. See ya. And then on to dispositions, or you're just pumped and you forget about the client that you just took on.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you're doing the short closes, especially, you know. But yeah, it's really...
Or distressed sellers.
Yeah, like my sister that works with me and doing dispo and TC, I'd say 80% of her job is just following up with seller 3 times a week. Like, that's like her metric. That's her KPI for me. It's like, did you call all the sellers Monday, all the sellers Wednesday, all the sellers Friday? Yep. If they didn't answer, did you send them a text and a voicemail? Yep. It's like so important for me now. Yep. So yeah, I agree with that. I mean, that was like my other train of thought when I started doing the kind of more of short closes was, all right, because I get it now. Like I get from their perspective why they would go to another contract, like you said. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, you know, if I signed to a 20K to do coaching with somebody and I didn't get an email or a text or nothing the next day, I'll be like, damn, what the fuck did I just do?
Yeah, so, exactly. Yeah. Especially if they're in distress, because you have to. If they're a distressed seller and they're like, I have to sell. Yeah, and I'm like, hey, I signed with Raul and I haven't heard from him for 3 days, like, 5 days. I thought I was going to get an escrow, an email from escrow, and I haven't received it. So I'm guessing he's a flake. So this other guy is following up with me. I'm going to try to work with this guy.
Yeah. And also, like, in this business, kind of from what I've learned from all the years, especially on the off-market side, is we're very service-based. Like, the reason they're taking a discount is because they want a good service from us. Yeah. They're accepting a discount. Everyone knows now. Like, maybe 10 years ago, no one knew because Zillow wasn't so. Everybody knows they're taking a discount when they sign. Like
100%.
Even if the lady's 100 years old, trust me, she knows. Yeah. So they're taking this discount. The least you could do is provide good service and reach out to them a bunch of times. Like, I get so upset when like we don't provide good service. Like, you know, I mean, Bezos built the most massive business on customer obsession. Yeah. And then in the wholesale world, we don't really talk about that. No, we got to be obsessed with the sellers. The buyers, fuck. No, just kidding.
The buyers, you burn them.
Screw them. Okay, no, just kidding. But the sellers, you got to be obsessed with them. Obsessed with what they want, what they need. And in my opinion, like that's what I think it's all about.
I believe this is a gem for you guys. You have to service the seller, and then you have to babysit the buyers. The buyers, you have to be like, hey, Mr. Buyer, did you put your EMD yet? Yeah, yeah. Did you get your contract? Hey, Mr. Buyer, did you start your hard money loan? Because we're closing in 2 weeks. Yeah, yeah. And I haven't heard anything. Oh, hey, Mr. Like, literally, we're just like, especially as you scale, because it's easy when you get, like, the deal in Miami that's, like, vacant. Yeah. Boom, baby. Like you could dispo it quick. But then when you have like you're working on like a new buyer or someone in a rural area or like a first time buyer, you're just like, hey, like, have you ever I'll straight up ask people like, hey, have you ever bought a house before? Like, tell me the truth. Like, you don't have to like tell me the truth. Yeah, tell me the truth. Like, we're in escrow. I need to know. You haven't? Perfect. I'm gonna walk you through. Who's your lender? All right, give me their number. And I've sat there and actually like done transactions for people because I can't just rely on, you know, new buyers to figure it out.
Oh, it's the hardest, honestly. I feel like I miss out on money on dispo because I just don't deal with that anymore. Yeah. And it's not because I don't want to, it's just, it takes time, man. And
it is babysitting.
Yeah. And then sometimes a week before closing, their lender needs this. It's just like, yeah. But I think everyone starting out or everyone always should maybe should go through that because it's important.
Yeah, they have to go through it.
You have to.
So I think that's kind of like one of the struggles with a lot of new people is they have to learn just real estate 101, right? Yeah. So they have to learn like what is escrow, what is a deposit, what is a contract, what is an addendum, and then on top of that they have to learn sales because they got to talk to the sellers and the buyers, and then on top of that they have to understand marketing. So like, how are you going to get the leads? Yeah. Just so many things that they have to learn. I think that's why the barrier is getting harder and harder because like you have to learn all these things. Plus the marketing is getting very expensive. Yeah. So like if you don't have money to do marketing, how the heck are you going to get deals?
Yeah, the margin for error is less now. You know, back then people were making 10-to-1 returns like nothing, you know?
Yep.
But now like the pros are making 4-to-1, 5-to-1 if you're crushing.
Exactly.
You can find a little niche that maybe makes 7-to-1 for a couple months like you mentioned earlier, but it's not like a common thing anymore. You know? Which is fine, but it's like you said, like you just have to become a pro. Like you got to play the game.
Yeah, that's why I do one-on-one coaching now. I never did it before. Anyone that I do one-on-one coaching with, they have to have money for marketing. And it's not like, oh, I have $1,000. I'm like, no, sorry.
Yeah.
Like, no, you got to spend at least $3K and I have to believe that you could actually do the sales. Because like if I get someone that I'm like, you're not, I just don't see it. I just don't take them on because I'm like, and if they want to flip houses, they have to have money. I don't take anyone that's like, oh, well, you know, I got 5K or 10K to pay you, but I'm going to have to learn to raise. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. It's just too hard right now. You could do it, but I don't want to invest time.
Yeah, it's hard enough as it is. And then to add a no money, no marketing in the mix, it's like, oh, God.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough.
Yeah.
So anything else on acquisition? So you do a 20-minute call. Can we just role play kind of like quickly how your calls go?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'll be the seller. Hey, what's up?
Hey, how's it going, Brian?
Good.
Cool. I was reaching out because I got your property info on our website. You looking to sell it?
Yeah, I'm looking to sell.
Awesome. How much you looking to get for it?
Well, yeah, I just wanted to see what you guys were going to offer. I saw on your website, it said get a cash offer. So
nice.
What are you going to offer me?
Okay. I got you. Oh, he's going to play hard. I got you. Yeah, I could definitely answer that. But yeah, I mean, let's start with, I guess, share with me what's got you even interested in selling it, man.
Yeah. So we have this house over here in California. It was a rental. The tenants kind of left it a mess. We ended up evicting them. And now I'm just kind of over it, and I want to move that money somewhere else.
Gotcha. So you said it's a rental, or was a rental?
It was a rental.
Gotcha. Just curious, have you thought about just instead of selling it, just keeping it as a rental?
No, I mean we rather just move that money into stocks. We're getting old, and we don't want to work with tenants anymore. They're a headache.
I hear you, man. I sold a bunch of rentals recently. I get it. And let me ask you this: I'm not a realtor, but have you thought about just listing it with an agent?
Yeah, but I mean, I just don't like realtors. They're a bunch of Biden supporters, and I don't like them.
All right. So it sounds like selling it. You don't want to keep it. You don't want to rent it out. And you don't really want to list it. Does that sound right?
No, I don't want to list it. No.
I gotcha.
I'm trying to get a cash offer.
All right, I gotcha. And just give me a rough walkthrough of the house. Like, what's the condition like?
I mean, it's a solid house, good bones. You know, nice carpet. Carpet's a little old. It's been like 10 years, but, you know, we keep it clean. And, you know, it hasn't really been updated since like 1970.
Nice.
But it's a great house, nice curb appeal. There's a beautiful tree in the backyard.
Okay. Nice trees. I like trees. Does the trees have mangoes or something?
No. It's just a dead pine tree.
Awesome. Just like my soul. No, I'm just kidding. Crap, now I lost my train of thought. Such a good joke. I lost my train of thought. No, okay, got it. So seems like it needs some updating. No problem. Have you got any quotes from contractors or repairmen of like how much it'll cost to fix it all up?
No, I would imagine maybe 10 or 20K.
Okay, got it. All right. And what about timeline? Let's say that you got the right number. Did you have a timeline in mind of when you want to sell it?
I'd probably want to sell it probably by the end of the month, like in 2 weeks.
Nice. Got it. So closing in 2 weeks, not a problem.
Yeah.
Okay. And anyone else that might be involved, like on title or in the decision for you?
No. I mean, I'm the man of the house, so.
I love it.
There you go.
Good for you. And then what about stuff? Is there any stuff in the property that you'd want to leave behind, or how's that?
Yeah, the tenants left a bunch of crap in the garage.
Okay. Do you want, because, yeah, we could offer to remove that as part of our offer. Or do you want to keep some of that?
No, yeah, we don't want it.
Got it. So you could leave it behind. So I'll save you a little bit of money on moving it and all that.
Okay.
Cool. So it seems like you do want to sell it. Property needs a little bit of repairs, like you mentioned. 2 weeks to close. Mm-hmm. No one else involved. Let me ask you this. if you were to get a number, all cash, no fees, no commissions, what that means is that it's net to you. You know, what do you think's like the best you could do?
Let's say you need to get the house at 250 to make 30K.
Okay, got it.
All right. Let's say I would take about 270.
Okay. About 270 is what, and okay, it seems like a fair number. How did you come up with that?
Well, I saw that, a house sold in the high 300s across the street, and I figured mine needs work, and I'm not paying no stupid realtor. So I don't know. Yeah, then I want to use some funds to, pay for my granddaughter's college.
Okay, got it. In a more conversation, I would have kind of dug into it a little bit more. But okay. Yeah, I mean, look, it seems like a great property. Not every property is a fit for me, but this one does seem like a fit for me because of the area, the location, the condition.
Yeah.
I understand your situation. I understand where you need to be. Just so you know, I'm an investor. So the catch of working with me and not paying any fees is that I have to make a profit. That's the catch. We pay all the fees. We make it easy, but there needs to be a little bit of money. We don't get paid commissions. We don't get paid any of that. So that's how we stay in business. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. So if you're cool with that, then really I've seen some investor sales kind of happening in the low 200s. Not what I'm going to offer you, but kind of from what I'm seeing here, if I could pay all the fees and do everything for you, probably be in the 230 to 240 range.
Okay. Well, how about this? Why don't you send me an email with all that information, and then I'll think about it, and then I'll call you back and like tomorrow after Labor Day, so in like 4 days.
I gotcha. Yeah, look, no problem. I know there's a lot to think about. I'm gonna be honest. Like, you seem like a very polite person, and sometimes when I hear that, it's probably just a polite way of you telling me no, that you didn't like it.
No, I mean that's 230. That's a little low.
Okay.
So, yeah, maybe if we could meet, in the middle or something like that. But yeah, I couldn't do 230. I got too much
in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get you. And just curious, what were you, let's say you got the money you wanted. What were you going to use the money for? Were you guys going to buy another? You said stocks, right?
Yeah, I was just going to put it into Tesla, I saw Elon with Trump, and I was like, you know what? I'm investing in this guy.
Good for you. Yeah. Okay. Let's see if I can work the numbers for you, because I understand that that's important. But besides the price, is there anything else that is important or meaningful to you with this transaction, like the timing? And do you have any questions on the process?
Well, we just have to. We really want to close in 2 weeks. The house has been sitting there, and then someone broke in last week, so we just want to get it sold.
Got it. So the timing is very important. The 2 weeks. Okay, got it.
Or a week, if you could do a week.
Okay. We could try, but typically I'll put on or before 2 to 3 weeks, because title and things take some time.
Okay.
But I'll do my best, and we'll stay in communication. My sister calls you Monday, Wednesday, Friday, every 3 times a week until we close. So we'll keep you updated every single step of the way.
Okay.
So before I get into the numbers to see what I could do, I just wanted to explain that process. So let's say we do agree, and I agree with you, you agree with me. Then what would happen next is I'll send you something by email, like you requested. We'll review it. If you like it, we sign it. If I like it, I sign it. We'll take it to title, and we'll close on the day that you choose.
Okay.
Is that pretty clear? Do you have any questions on the process?
Nope.
All right. Fair enough. So if I could get you closer to that 250, is it too soon to start the process today?
Well, I was trying to be closer to 270. So you're saying 250?
What's your honest opinion about it?
My honest opinion, could we do 255?
It's I don't want to give you an offer I can't like go through with. And that's the reason for my hesitancy. Like, your property is worth more. Let's get that out of the way. It is worth more money, but we're going to have to fix it up. We're going to have to pay for the closing costs and the fees. We're not going to have any agents involved in you. We're going to get it done as quickly as we can. We're going to communicate with you every step of the way. 255 is a little tight. I do appreciate you working with me. We are looking at some other properties, but if you can agree to 247, 892.22 cents is what's coming out on the calculator is like top, I'd be able to accomplish this for you.
What was it? 247?
492.72 cents.
Okay. All right, let's do it. Yeah, okay. So that's you always throw out like a number like that?
If it gets into a negotiation like that, yes.
Oh, okay.
But like my final number is 250.
Yeah.
But I'll throw that number. And then if it really, I have to get to 250, I'll be like, look, I'll just get to the 250. Like,
yeah.
But even Steven, no odd numbers.
Yeah.
I'll even tell him that, like, even 250, I'm going to figure it out with like my people. Don't worry. Like,
yeah,
let's get it done at that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where did you learn like this sales style from?
It was a combination of like the John Martinez stuff. Never Split the Difference. I've read a couple times.
I'm sorry.
All good. And man, just like doing it. Doing it, going to mastermind seminars, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. How many leads does it typically take you to close?
I'd say 15.
15?
I mean, it depends on the lead source. But,
yeah.
But if I had to average it, maybe 15 to 17.
And what do you think your average fee is right now?
19,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah, about 19K.
Yeah.
Actually, I was doing the numbers before coming here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But yeah, one of the things I think on the sales, like, for example, when I see like RJ Bates do it and stuff, I think he's a killer. He's great at his style.
Yeah.
I think what's important for me when I do it is I like to learn about their other options. That's why I always religiously ask, why don't you list it? Why don't you rent it? And why don't you keep it? Sometimes, like if this was a real conversation, it probably would have been longer. I mean, we did it, I don't know, 5 minutes or something. I would have asked, have you thought about refinancing it? Have you thought about handing it down to a family member? You mentioned that you had kids. Do any of your kids want to buy it?
Yeah.
Because I don't want those to come up after we sign it.
Yeah.
You understand? So I really, like, I spend a good amount of my time figuring out their other options.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I do that I don't see happen too much. Yeah. But that's like my little philosophy. You know?
Yeah. So what I used to teach our sales team is it's called the closer framework. I got it from Alex Hermosi. So there's like clarity, label, overview, sell, explain, reinforce. So what you're doing is like clarity, like, okay, why do you want to sell? And then you're also just like pre-handling objections.
Right.
So instead of like doing CLO, you're doing like C-O. You know, you're getting clarity, but you're also pre-handling objections. Like, why are you working with a realtor? Why don't you refinance? Yeah. Have you thought of, you know,
pull a line of credit?
Yeah. Why don't you get more for it or whatever?
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, that's smart. So that way.
Yeah. It's like I said in the beginning, like when you asked about like the sale, it just also depends who's on the other side, like who's doing the sale. Yeah. Like for me, my brain works well that way. You know, like I think in the beginning, it's good to follow a framework, a script, a checklist, whatever. Yeah. But, you know, once you do it for a little bit, you can kind of create your own mental framework that helps, because ultimately I'm trying to get all the information from the seller to help me best structure something that works for them. Yeah. And that is how I've seen over time my brain gets the best, like how I've worked best. It's like, okay, I've checked all the other boxes that they're not. So at the end of the negotiation, if this would have got a little bit more like, no, I'm at 240, you're at 210, whatever. I would be like, look, you mentioned to me you don't want to list it because of this and this. You don't want to rent it because of this. You don't want to hand it down to family. Like, let's say you don't sell to me. Forget Raul. What are you going to do? Yeah. You know, I have all that so that I could really handle the best objection possible while also feeling good about myself, you know? Yeah. Because if she's like, oh, no, an agent's coming tomorrow to list it for 300 grand more, I honestly would probably just like be a little bit more direct and just be like, look, this is the difference. You're going to probably make 300 grand more with them, or you could take my offer here. So there's also a little bit of an ethical thing for me at this point. Like I do with my sale, I want to make sure that I'm like I don't know, feeling good about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you do anything like, how do you, like as a salesperson, like pump yourself up before getting into like sales for the day?
Money, man.
You're motivated by money?
Yeah, motivated by money, motivated by also just hitting goals too.
Yeah.
So I have in the beginning of the year I created like a 8-page Google document of all my goals and health, wealth, business, the house I want to buy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I recorded myself in a voice memo on my phone. So I listened to it maybe like 2 times a day.
Damn,
so,
every day?
Every day. It's like it's 10 minutes long. I listen to it on fast speeds. It's like 5 minutes.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So like if I'm ever like in the morning, I try to listen to it like before I start calls. Sometimes I'll listen to calls, like other people doing calls on YouTube or a podcast or something to just pump myself up. If I see them do it, I'm like, all right, Raul, don't be a bitch. Like these guys are doing it. Come on. You know, so
that's so funny.
Yeah.
I love it.
Cause like then I'll start psyching myself out like, oh, Raul, like you've done this before. You've been doing this for 10 years. You don't need to do calls. Like you already have X amount of money. You have this rentals. You don't need to do these calls.
Yeah.
But then it's like, no, man, like this is like what makes character.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It's like working out.
Yeah. Like exactly.
Yeah.
If you're successful in an industry and then you keep doing the grimy shit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, acquisition is not grimy, but you know what I'm saying.
It feels like it when you're waking up in silk sheets, right?
No, but like it's somewhat grimy in the sense like it's nicer to be on top. But like I don't know, like that's the shit that builds character, you know? So
that's so funny.
Those are the type of things that kind of like get me. Yeah. I've never actually said that to anybody, but yeah there it is.
No, I mean I think it's great because I remember like so when I used to I think I'm great at sales. But what I've been struggling with recently, like I said, I'm not doing sales right now because I'm just like, let them do it. I'm freaking, I don't know. It's just like, I literally feel like the silk sheets thing where I'm like, dude, I don't need to be like doing this crap, but it's important because I remember when I first started, I was like a hungry beast. Like I'm like, someone's like, oh, I can't close this lead. I'm like, give me the lead. Give me the lead. I'll close it and I'll give you half. Like I'm like trying to close whatever I can. And then you get complacent and that's where a lot of people fall off, is just complacency.
Yeah. It's a tough balance because in reality, you can't really be the best CEO like in doing a lot of sales.
Yeah.
In reality, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you could, but...
You could. It just depends, but yeah.
It depends like on the way you structure your business. If it's not so big and you're being really net profitable, et cetera. Trust me, I was there, man. Like for a while, you know, almost all of last year, I barely did sales, you know, till like maybe the middle, and you know, but you just find things to hype yourself up. Like it was a good question because it's a big part of my thing. Like if I didn't have like clear, like vision of what I'm doing these sales for, why I'm learning this, I probably would really hate it, you know.
What do you think is like the net margin percentage on your business now as it sits?
Oh, now it's a lot because I'm like doing the acquisitions. I'm doing most of the dispo. I don't know, probably 60%.
60%. How much money do you think your company will do in revenue this year?
So I started back up in March. We've closed like maybe $500,000. So I don't know, maybe 700-800 grand to be conservative.
Yeah. And then what do you think about next year?
I haven't even thought that far.
Oh, you're not even, you're just thinking one
year.
Yeah.
I'm just like 1 year at a time. Yeah. I came from that thing. I would say I'm like almost recovered, but I'm still have like a little bit in me that I'm like still a little bit like, you know, on defense mentally, but I don't know. I'm going to try. My goal is just to net $1 million a year from the wholesale side.
Yeah.
If that involves me, then so be it. I've kind of like come to peace with that.
Okay.
Because I've seen the other side. Like I've had the big team. I've had the office. I was paying $5-6 grand a month for the office. And I had this and I had that. There was 1 year in 2022 that we recruited 130 salespeople that year.
What the hell?
I know.
What?
Yeah. Like I've seen the other side of having like big teams and all that. And I netted maybe 300 to 400 grand on that business. Like I've netted almost that much in just 6 months, but I have to do it, which is obviously has its annoyance, but it's work. I don't know. So to answer your question, this year, I don't know. I think we'll probably make 700-800 top line.
Yeah.
And next year, like I'm not ending December 31st unless I net $1 million on the wholesale business alone.
Got it.
So that's going to happen, you know.
What's the most you've made in 1 year?
And top line, maybe 2.4.
2.4.
Some 2.3, 2.4, something like
And
that.
what did you net that year?
Maybe 700.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So like when you scaled, it just got like fat.
Yeah.
How did you recruit 100 salespeople? That's insane.
So I had a coach that was a Keller Williams guy. He also has a
Okay.
big wholesale team, but he comes from the brokerage world.
Yeah.
Right. And they have a saying in Keller Williams, because I went to some of these things. It's out recruit the problem.
Oh.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. Very. maybe
sounds fun.
maybe for brokers it's fun, but
Yeah,
for
yeah,
wholesalers
yeah.
it's not. So anyway, so he said, look, because he started doing with his wholesale business and he was having some success. But I also had to realize this guy's been doing it for 15 years in his agent business. So like
Yeah.
he knows how to do this, you know.
And agents are, I can't say the, bleep it out, they're retarded.
The hard R.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
hit us with the
yeah,
hard R. So how I did it was, it started with, I want to make more money. And
Yeah.
he said, okay, well, how many people do you have? How many salespeople? I said, I have like 4 or 5. Okay. So you're
He's
like,
you need 100.
yeah. So he's like, okay, let's say you're at a 1.2, 1.4 million on 5. So that means each person makes X amount.
Yeah.
So why don't you get 30 of them? And I'm like, oh, I guess that makes sense. And I'm kind of stupid, to be honest. Like in general, like I read a lot, but like I'm not like a super analytical person, right?
Yeah. That's so funny. You called yourself stupid.
Yeah,
That's so
so-
funny. Have you ever took the predictive index?
Yes.
Do you know what you are?
Damn.
Are you like a maverick or a captain, a persuader?
When we're done here, I could check. I have it on my
Yeah.
email.
Yeah.
I don't.
Are you more a sales profile or more
like a promoter profile?
promoter? Okay, so you're
Yeah.
like a sales guy.
Yeah, promoter
Yeah.
profile. So the plan was recruit more people, make more money. That was the plan. So I said, okay, great. How do we do this plan? He said, well, you need a full-time recruiter because you're going to have to hire a lot of people. So we hired a full-time. We turned one of my acquisitions guys into a recruiter. So I paid him a $3,500 a month salary. We'd spend like maybe $2,000 a month on Indeed ads, plus Craigslist, plus ZipRecruiter, plus Glassdoor, whatever.
This is crazy.
All the
Yeah.
stuff. So we're spending about $5,000 to $6,000 a month between the recruiter and the ad spend,
Yeah.
right? And then also we were spending money on the he'd get paid a commission. So the recruiter, if you'd bring somebody on, he'd get paid $200 if they stayed for 21 days.
Recruiting agents or just
No, like
people?
people that want to
How
do.
are you giving them leads?
Good question. So we'd make them cold call.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like we would post ads. This has got crazy, bro. So I had a pretty big office, you know. So we would post ads, okay? We'd get a bunch of applicants, hundreds a day, whatever. I actually have all the numbers on a spreadsheet I can share after. But hundreds a day or whatever. Then what we would do is we'd blast email them to come in for an interview, okay? And we had interviews set up Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 12.
Yeah.
The people would come in for the interview, but it was a group interview.
Yeah.
So we had a PowerPoint like presentation that my recruiter learned how to do. So we'd have 7 to 10 people come in per interview in our little conference room. He'd run an interview to all 10, 3 times a week, right? And then after that interview's done, me and him would have a 5-minute conversation with each person. So they'd wait in the room and I'd say, all right, let's do a 5-minute conversation. See, hey, what'd you think? Are you interested? If yes, okay, come back tomorrow. If no, bye. And then all the people that come back tomorrow, people would filter themselves out. And then people that come back tomorrow, they would sit next to and shadow an acquisitions agent that was doing the business. If they passed that test, then we'd hire them. And at that point, that's when we were hiring, whatever 10 a month is.
I'm guessing you weren't paying them a salary.
No, commission only.
Commission
15
only.
to 20% commission.
Dang.
If you get a cold call deal, you get 20%.
That sounds so stressful.
Very.
Yeah.
At the time, I had like my COO and then my recruiter. And so it was stressful for me, but it was even more stressful for them.
Yeah.
The silver lining is I learned a lot. And also we actually made money from it. Like it was a marketing thing. We spent like about $100,000 in the year on it and we made $300K from them.
Damn.
So it's not like we lost money, but I wouldn't do that again.
Yeah. So typically on this podcast, you actually listen to it. So shout out to you.
Yeah.
But we talk about like mindset and like faith. So let's get into like that recording thing that you said you do. Can you like explain that more?
Recording?
You
The goals and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone needs something to like look towards, in my opinion, something like kind of higher than yourself. so to speak. So I feel like in order for me to continue going, I needed to like put it in a way that I resonate with. And I've always listened to books and podcasts and stuff. So I'm like, why am I not listening to like myself, kind of like preach to myself?
Dang.
You know? And we all listen to other people, but we never
Yeah.
listen to ourselves.
Yeah.
Kinda crazy, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe some do, but
Yeah.
most people don't. So I'm like, so I recorded it. It took me like months to create this thing. It wasn't like I just did, and it was like, whatever. So I created this thing and I just listened to it, you know, and it's not that I'm not religious. I would just say I'm not like a practicing, religious person, but for a long time I was. I would go to church every Sunday and all that.
What kind of church?
Christian.
Okay.
Christian church, yeah. I grew up Catholic. I went to Catholic school and everything. And then my girlfriend at the time, she got me more like into like Christianity and the churches and everything. So that's what I resonate with the most. And yeah, so that's kind of like my own way of keeping myself like grounded, that there's more to this than just like daily activities and conversations and sales and marketing. Like,
Yeah.
there's a little bit more.
So you wrote down your goals for the year?
Yeah, it's like vision for myself, goals, affirmations. Because like, for example, I put like health, right?
Yeah.
And I wrote like 2 pages long. It's like a mix. It's like, it was like a brain dump of what I want for myself health wise, but it's
Yeah.
like with affirmations, with visualizations, with goals, with like where I'm at now and what I see my path being.
Yeah.
You understand? It's almost like I wrote a little story per section of my life. So I have like health, I have, real estate, I have business, I have family, I have friends, I have relationships, my significant other, relationship with my girlfriend. I have like all that kind of stuff. And I have a little story per thing. Does that make sense?
Like a little story? What does that mean?
Yeah. Like instead of just saying, oh, I want to have a 6-pack.
Yeah.
I wrote a 1.5 page, 2-page thing of like, okay, I want to like never really be sick. I want to never get sick. I want to, it's kind of like a long story. Like I'm waking up this morning, I'm drinking a coffee, I'm look down, this is what I see. My chest feels like this, my arms feel like this. I have a vein running down my forearm. Like I'm very specific with things. Does that make sense?
Damn.
So I wrote a
Yeah.
story per thing. And then the same thing goes for like the business. The same thing goes for hobbies, things like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And then you wrote all that, and then you like read it,
Yeah.
and then you play it for yourself.
Yeah. In the car, in the gym,
Dang.
plane.
Why have you kind of like fallen away from Christianity or whatever?
I think I like, there was a couple events with that church that kind of turned me off.
Yeah, church hurt.
Okay, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I just never really seeked out another
New
one.
church.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's really what it comes down to. I still catch myself sometimes on like YouTube and stuff, listening to pastors and stuff every once in a while.
Yeah. Do you listen to worship music?
No,
No. Did you ever get into that?
no. Like I wouldn't say I know like any bands or anything
Yeah.
like that. No.
Yeah.
I mean, I would listen to it when I was at the church and stuff, but
Yeah.
no, I would say I never really got like super into it. Yeah, so I mean, I still feel I have a relationship, with God or with, what I believe in, but it's just not like a practicing.
Yeah.
And I think it was maybe, I'd never heard of that term, church hurt. I guess that's what happened.
Yeah.
And I never really seeked out. I just got busy, and
Yeah. So I'm starting this movement. It's
Okay.
called Get Your ASS to Church.
okay.
Because and I shouldn't say that, the ASS word.
It's almost like a
whatever.
catch-22.
Yeah. But I think that going to church is super important. And there is a term called church hurt, where someone, they go to church, they're having great faith, but then somebody, rather the pastor or someone else, does something that hurts them, and then they associate that pastor with Jesus.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, this happened, so I don't want to go to church anymore. But I feel for you for having to go through whatever you went through. But I think that, your relationship with Christ, your relationship with the Holy Spirit, I don't know if you still feel the Holy Spirit as much as you were before. Like, how's that relationship?
I'd say my gut's telling me no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you used to have the Holy Spirit before?
Probably. I
Yeah.
think from what I can remember, from what I can understand of it, yes.
Yeah. and now you don't have it anymore.
That seems like a right statement.
Yeah. So like our pastor was talking about the relationship with the Holy Spirit is the more you obey, the more you feel the Holy Spirit. The less you obey, then you just won't feel the Holy Spirit. Like eventually it just goes away. So I am a big believer in the Holy Spirit. I believe that, you know, the more you read the Bible, the more you pray, the more you obey, the more you follow what you're supposed to do, what your conscience is telling you to do, you feel the Holy Spirit more. And I do think, like, if my pastor ever did anything, let's say my pastor smacks my wife or something like that, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm just using a dramatic thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be like, dude, I'm not going to this church anymore, right? And then you might go to another church and you're like, I don't feel like it. I can't feel like it. But you don't feel the vibes like you did your previous church.
Yeah.
But I think it's so important to go to church. I think there's nothing more important on a Sunday morning than to just go to church. Like no football, no acquisitions, no nothing. Just take your butt to church. Take your ASS to church. Because I just feel like it's so important. What do you think about all that?
I think as I've gotten older and gone through more and more stuff, I think you're more and more right.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because there is a sense of emptiness, you know, that comes with some stuff, with all this stuff. You know,
that's what I was getting from you when you were talking about your broken season.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you. Have you ever heard of my testimony?
No.
Okay, I'll tell you my testimony. So, 2023, right? I'm balling, right? 2022, 2021, 2020. I'm just balling, right? I'm making more money than I ever thought I was gonna make, right? I got the Rolexes. I bought the freaking rose gold Rolex. I bought a house, paid it off. It was great, right? So 2023, right? But 2023, I was just feeling anxious all the time, right? And I always felt like this weird emptiness. And I was just like, dude, why am I not happy? Like, I got the Rolexes, I got the Mercedes, I got a beautiful wife, I have beautiful kids, my house is paid off, I live in a gated community, I got a big slider in the back, I could see my backyard, I could see my pool, like, I had all the things that I thought I wanted, right? I'm speaking on stages, I got cool friends, I'm meeting all these semi-internet famous people, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no physical thing that I could want that would fill it up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I got to the point of diminishing returns. It's like you got 10 shoes. Are you going to be happy when you have 15 shoes?
Yeah.
You have a 4,000 square foot house. Would the 5,000 square foot house make you happy? Like, it started to get to that point. So I went to Ryan. I was like, hey, dude, Ryan Pineda. I was like, hey, dude, like, this is what's going on, blah, 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 blah. He's like, dude, you got to go to church. I was like, brother, I don't want to hear that. That's not what I want to hear. I want to hear, like, some sort of, like, meditation or, like, oh, it's normal. But I go to church. And I immediately feel like a change. Like I immediately, like the first day I went, I was like, but I was like, I'm going to commit to this for like a month and see what happens. Within that month, I immediately felt a change. I used to like watch porn. I immediately stopped watching porn. Like it went away. Whoa. And I didn't even ask for it to go away. Like, I watched porn from, like, 15 to, like, 32, 33 years old. And in a month of going to church, it went away. And then my anxiety went away. And then I started having more joy and fulfillment out of just my life, not just work, not just chase the hunt and kill of work, just, like, spending time with my kids, spending time with my wife, spending time with my team members. Like, my joy, happiness, all that stuff went up, my peace, which is the Holy Spirit. Do you know the fruits of the Holy Spirit? Let me read the fruits of the Holy Spirit. I don't want to miss any of them.
And before that moment, did you have experiences with like churches? Like, did you have a relationship like that before or no?
I used to go to church as a kid because my mom made me go to church. Right. But
the Puerto Rican mother.
Yeah,
for
stand
sure.
up Puerto Rican, like yelling at me, cursing at me while we're going to work or while we're going to church. Like, but never like this. So I used to kind of read the Bible. I kind of used to do all that stuff, but not like this. So fruits of the Spirit. So this is like when you know you have the Holy Spirit. So This is Galatians 5:22. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forgiveness, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. That's like when you have the Holy Spirit. I started feeling that just like more and more and more. Like I could literally be driving to work and just be in tears with how happy and how much joy I had in my life.
Wow.
Never had that before.
And you felt that like pretty instantly, it sounds like.
It was like fairly short, but it was because I was fully submitted. I was just like, I feel like there's like levels to your faith, right? There's like, oh, I'm Christian, but I don't really go to church. I don't really like follow. Then there's like, okay, I go to church, but you know, I go because, you know, I just go.
My wife or whatever.
Yeah, and then there's like, I'm going, I'm reading the Bible, I'm fasting, I'm tithing, I'm being obedient, I'm trying to be more like Christ. I started doing that like right away because I'm like an all in or out type of person. Like I'm not lukewarm in anything. It's hard for me to like, that's why content's hard because like when I don't feel like doing it, I'm just like, I don't want to do this. Yeah. Like it's freaking hard. So anyway, so I did that and that's drastically changed my life. And that's like why I do content is because I want people to not fall in this trap of thinking they don't need God. Right? Like they think like, oh, like I got to figure it out. They're not like saying this to themselves, but they don't understand that God's not in their life. And you could have all these worldly things, but your soul needs to be fed just like your muscles, just like everything else. So yeah. How long ago was it when you were going to church?
It was probably when I was from like 16 years old all the way up to maybe 21.
Oh, so how old are you now?
31.
Oh, so it's been like 10 years.
Yeah.
10
years.
So you haven't really gone as an adult.
Correct.
Yeah, I feel like when you're...
I've gone to church here or there, you know, but like not like consciously like I'm going to get dressed on a Sunday, go because like I really want to.
Yeah. Do you have kids?
No.
No. Got it. Do you mind me asking what happened with the church?
It was just... people in the church, like it wasn't the pastor or anything. It was just like people kind of like weird behavior and like you know, because you meet people at the church and then you're like, oh, this guy or girl's cool. Let me go let's go hang out. And then there were different people here than in church, and like I started associating like, damn, are people this fake in church?
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I don't really want to be a part of that. You know, like I'm not. I don't know. I'm not trying to like be around fake people.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
I agree with that.
It was really that simple. I would say it just like I saw it happen a couple times.
Yeah.
With different people, and I'm like, you know, I don't know. I didn't like that.
Exactly.
And I'm like,
I understand that.
I'm like, I like the message. I like going to church, but then like if I'm then associating with these people, I don't know. Is it really beneficial for me in the long run?
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying it's the right decision. I'm just saying this is what went through my head. You know?
Yeah. There's no right and wrong. Yeah. And I think when I first started going to church, right, the very first thought that I had was I was like, dude, when I was thinking about going to church, right, I was like, I don't want to go to church because I don't want to be fake. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm watching porn, I'm drinking, I'm getting angry. Like, I don't want to be a fake Christian. I don't want to be in church and being a sinner, right? But we are all sinners.
Yeah.
We are all terrible people, right? There's levels, obviously. I'm not out destroying people, but, you know, like, you know, I'm not out doing X, Y, Z, but we're all sinners. We all fall short. So I don't put my faith in the people at the church. I'm going to church for God. You know, I am there in the community of the church, but I'm not going to church for people. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to church for the pastor. Like, I love my pastor, but I'm going for Jesus, for, you know, for yourself, his Father, for the Holy Spirit. And yeah, I feel like it's super important. And I think there's a lot of people that go to church, they experience church hurt. That's a very common thing. And then they just fall off. But you gotta get back in there.
That's a good way to kind of like to frame it. It's like, you know, just like everything, you can't control what other people do or say. And some bad apples, or maybe they're not even bad. Maybe what I perceived as bad doesn't mean it makes the whole thing bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I could use an analogy. Like, imagine if a seller cursed you out and you're like, I don't want to do real estate, because there's like sellers that curse you out.
Yeah, every
That'd
seller
be crazy,
sucks
right?
or something. Yeah.
Exactly. You'd be like, oh man, like that.
Yeah.
If someone said that to you, you'd be like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
But like, I think because church is, it's easy to go, but it's easier not to go. It's not hard to go to church for an hour and a half on a Sunday morning.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't watch sports and stuff. That never really bothered me.
Yeah.
And most of the time, like, obviously, if you resonate with the pastor's like message, like,
Yeah.
a lot of times it was like very interesting perspective that you don't hear on like a business book or
Exactly.
because like the perspective is coming from a place of like almost like enlightenment or something.
Exactly.
You know? And versus like perspective that I'd hear on podcasts or books is coming from a place of like solve a problem, resolution, things like that. So it was, I would always like leave thinking like, wow, that's an interesting perspective I never like would have even thought of.
Yeah.
You know, of like an issue or whatever they spoke about, you know?
Yeah. And I think also just going to church can fix a lot of marriage problems or relationship problems, because I'll tell my wife something, but she listens more if the pastor goes up there and says like, hey, you know, women, for example, you're supposed to support your husband. And then he'll give a practical example.
Yeah.
Like, you know, ladies, I know when your husband takes out the trash but doesn't put a trash in the trash bag, I know it drives you crazy. But, you know, you are called to support him. So just give him a high five for taking out the trash. At least he did something.
Yeah.
You know, like he'll give like practical life advice where you're like, damn, like, you know, my wife cooked or whatever. And I didn't, you know, instead of focusing on what she did right, I'm focusing on like what she missed. So it kind of like, it's like a weekly reminder of like how you're supposed to live as a person, not just like as a real estate person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I guess if you're gonna make my girlfriend see that I'm right, and I was kidding.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, this is great, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah, call
awesome.
her out.
You sold me.
Yeah. But then sometimes he'll say like, hey, men, you need to do X, Y, Z. You're supposed to, whatever the case may be. I don't listen to that part. I listen to more when he talks about that.
That's funny.
But yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. For people listening to this on Spotify and Apple, if they want to find you, where do they go?
At Raul Bolufe on all social medias, Instagram, Facebook, all that.
Got it. Yeah. And then in the description of this video on YouTube, we're going to put all your links. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for coming on, brother.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me.
And for everyone listening, if you haven't yet, subscribe to the #1 podcast for flippers and wholesalers. And then in the link of the description, we're also going to have a link where you could get the PPC thing that you talked about earlier.
I got you.
All right. Beautiful. This was the Wealthy Investor Podcast. We're out. Peace.